Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Farhan. There's a few different ways to say it, and I just wanted to share my story with you. My life. Where to begin? Hmm. I'm 30 years old. I'm 30 years old, and I feel like a complete failure. I'm 30 years old, and I feel like I've not achieved anything in my life. Anything valuable, anything tangible, anything that I could say that I am proud of. I've done things in my life that I have been proud of at that moment of time. Like recently, I did a speech at my brother's wedding, which, if I'm honest with myself, was one of the proudest moments of my life um, because I knew that the wedding was happening for months in advance, and I initially got a burst of inspiration to do a speech. But then I know myself, I know how my mind works, or the cycles that it's got into working. And over the next coming months leading up to the wedding, I'd sometimes feel like, yeah, I'm ready to do it. And sometimes I'd be like, nah, there's no way I can do that. Just not feeling confident, not having any self belief. And eventually, a week before the wedding, I wrote a speech and I practiced a little bit while I was driving around in my car. And on the day of the wedding, I just said to myself, or even the night before, I just said, F it, you're doing it. And that mentality of saying F it, it always tends to serve me well whenever there's something sort of I'm inspired to do, or there's an action that I need to take, or a goal I need to complete. If I go in with the F it mentality, then I just get it done. Yeah. And I remember after doing the speech, while doing the speech, I was very nervous, but eventually I settled into it. I think a part of me does believe in myself, a part of me does believe in my capabilities, but I've often found it difficult to get in touch with that part of me. So, my life situation right now, as it is, I'm 30 years old. I don't really have a job. I work as a food courier, and it's a job that it sometimes embarrasses me. The fact that I'm 30 years old. I've gone through the education system. I've had good jobs previously. I'm most likely, uh, if I put my mind to something, I feel like I do have some capabilities, some skills that I can offer to the world, but I just struggle to get to that place. So I don't really have a job. I feel like a burden to the people around me, and hmm, it is tough to talk about these things because this is like real life raw stuff. I'm in a shitload of debt, which I have absolutely no way of paying. And at the age of 30 years old, I am 99% likely facing the prospect of being insolvent, which will affect my future. And it's very daunting. It's like being in a black hole with no way out, with no way out. But hmm, there is a lot for me to say if I'm honest. But all these things that I've mentioned, these are the issues of the physical world. these are issues of the physical world. These are the traits, characteristics, for not being able to find a better word, traits or characteristics that we are judged by. At the end of the day, I feel like in this day and age, no matter who you are, we're all judged by the assets that we hold, the finances that we have, the material objects that we own. And I feel like it's a way of the world. It's just a way of the world as it is. And ever since I've been young, ever since sort of came into full consciousness, I would probably say that was about my teenage years, I've struggled with the idea of the world as it currently is. Money is our God. Let's face it, money is our God. And that idea, it disorientates my mind, because where is the value in humanity? Where is the value of a human being? Because when a human being is born, we are all complete. We are all complete, whole, and perfect when we are born. And in our childhoods, we are loved as we should be. But then, as we grow into later childhood, teenage years, early adulthood, that love, I feel, uh, it becomes conditional. And I completely understand, because that is the way that the world is. That is the way that we have all agreed as society, that this is the way that the world is. And it's something that our ancestors have agreed, because everybody has partaken in the system, in society, and we have all agreed that yes, this is the way that things will be. But that raises another question: have we agreed it, or is the way that society is, has it been forced upon us? It's an interesting question. But that's something that I most likely will discuss again in the future. And at the moment, I just want to sort of focus more on myself, because this is the first video that I've ever made. And yeah, I just want to focus more on myself and just tell you a little bit more about me and about my life. So how has my life got to this stage where I'm 30 years old and I feel like a complete failure? I've not achieved anything. I'm a burden to the people around me. Uh, there's not much financial assistance that I can offer to the people around me, to my family, which disappoints me. It disappoints me that I have got myself into the situation that I'm in. But I guess that is life. That is life. Life is not always. It's not always rosy. It's not always smooth sailing. Um, I mean, in another reality, I could have achieved something. I could have had money. I could have made something of my life by the age of 30, but then I may have had a multitude of other issues. Do you get me? So I'd say it is important, despite the situation that I'm in, it is important to keep a balanced perspective. And it's strange. It is strange because today is Tuesday, the 19th of August. Last week, for the full week, I was feeling very positive, very energetic, very enthusiastic about life. And then this Monday came, the weather changed. The weather changed to normal UK weather, which is grey, cloudy, and just depressing. And I feel like it did have an impact on me, but there has been occasions in my life where I am still able to maintain my spirits despite my external environment. And don't get me wrong, so I feel like a failure right now in this moment. But there is times, despite everything going around me, I feel I feel whole, I feel complete, I feel like a human being, and I feel like I can bring joy to the people around me. And I think those are the times that I value in my life, when I am of use to myself and I am of use to the people around me. But then I come to times like these where I am of no use to anyone. I am of no use to myself. And the only motivation I have is to lay in bed and just scroll through my phone, and just while ignoring the thoughts that are going on in my head. And those thoughts are, what has gone wrong in my life for me to get to this stage? And I'd say what has got me to this stage, to where I am right now, it's been rush decisions, decisions made with impulse, decisions made with emotion, and not really thinking through the consequences of the choices that I am making. And I also feel that my mind can often get into a very delirious state, a delusional state, where I often think, that everything will just work out. And I feel like throughout my 20s, that is the mentality that I've had, just to that everything will just work out. And in a way, that mentality can work, because despite the situation that I'm in, things can always change, and I believe that they will. That's the reason I'm starting this journey of that's the reason why I'm sharing my journey with you, because I do believe that things will change. But it's important for me and for you to acknowledge, if I'm going to share this with you, so it's important for me to be completely honest with you about where I am and how I've got here and where I want to go. So yeah, very poor decisions, especially in my 20s. But I also feel that is a consequence of my childhood, my upbringing. Not to say, not to blame the people around me, to say that I wasn't raised in the right way, but more to say that since a young age, I feel like my life lacked direction. Like there wasn't really. It was the usual route. It was encouraged for me, and yeah, and the environment that I was in, to take the usual route, which is school, college, uni, job. And so that's what I ended up doing. So that's what I did, because there was no other option. And I remember sort of in college, I used to think, yeah, sometimes I would think I want to be a police officer, sometimes I would think I want to be a teacher, and but really I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was 18, so I went to uni and I studied what my big brother studied, because I've always looked up to my big brother. I still do. And so I just followed like his path, because I had no better no better sort of education on how to form my own path. So yeah, so I did what those did before me. And So since then, since sort of my early to late 20s, it's just been, I've worked a few different jobs. My first two jobs, I lasted 2 years in 22 months to be exact in each job. And then eventually I just get this feeling that there's something better out there for me. So, and I just leave. My first two jobs, literally, that is what I did. I left on the spot. I was like, no, this is not for me. And my third job was slightly more productive because I excelled in the role that I was in, and I picked up some good skills. Or I would say that the role allowed for some of my characteristics to come out and um, yeah, and to be sort of shown to the world. But then again, after that job, I lasted 3 years and got to the same point where I was just like, no, this is not what I want to do. This is not where I feel comfortable. This is not this is not bringing me any joy. It is not giving me any purpose. So that was at the age of 28, going on to 29. So I was around 28 and a half. So it was this time, not this time. It was May 2024 where I left that job again on the spot. Just woke up one day and I did consult with the people around me to say, yeah, this is not doing it for me. And and yeah, just left. And for the last 2 years, I would say that my life has been very chaotic, just absolute chaos. And I sometimes think that I thrive in chaos. There's many different aspects of my life that I can discuss. And yeah, so, and I did have one more 9 to 5 job, which was, which lasted for about 7 months. And this one, believe it or not, I didn't leave, even though I wanted to, but they got rid of me themselves because, yeah, I feel like maybe they had an idea that I was getting close to that stage where it was just going one day all guns blazing and handing my resignation. So I was getting very close to that point anyway. So that was in May of this year, May 2025. And you'll notice a pattern which is cycles repeating themselves. And I feel like, especially throughout my 20s, it's just been cycles repeating themselves and cycles that I struggle to break free from. And even now I've got to 30, going on to 31 very soon. And these cycles, I am aware of them. I am aware of the tricks that my own mind plays. But I still, for some reason, I still struggle. I still fall into the same traps. And I trip up at the same places. Everything seems to be going well at one point, and then it feels like it's some kind of self-sabotage mechanism sometimes. And I try my best to overcome it, but then I just get these feelings that my life like isn't going anywhere, and I begin to think, what is the point of all this? What is the purpose behind it? Now that leads to a very important question. What is the purpose behind it all? I'm not a religious man. I have tried, but I wouldn't say I'm a religious man. I do believe in God. We have to believe in God. I feel like the how can life come from nowhere? Because life is so valuable, it can be so beautiful at times. How can it come from nowhere? And I do not think that it came from nature itself. I do believe that we all came from God. And having come from God, I do think that we all do have a purpose. I think we've all been put on this planet for a reason, and it's up to each one of us to find what that reason is. and just to ask questions of yourself. Why am I here? Who am I? Despite all the chaos of my life in the last couple of years, these are the questions that I have been asking myself. And these questions have I got the answers to them? Partly. My purpose, if you were to ask me, what is my purpose? It's in the name of the channel. My purpose is to write poetry. Because that is what I love to do. That is what I feel like I was born to do. That is what makes me feel completely alive. It makes me feel like I am in tune. I am in tune with God. Like I am in tune with a power that is much, much higher than myself, in tune with a force that is a force that binds the universe. That is what I feel like when I write poetry, when I talk about my poetry, the inspirations behind my poetry. And it's when I begin to discuss my poetry, my life sort of starts to make sense. To me, it does anyway. I would say the challenge of my whole life, as you may have gathered from everything that I've explained so far, has been finding a purpose, has been understanding who am I as a person. And I feel like ever since my early teenage years, I'd always been searching for something. Like it was just felt like there was something out there that's just calling me, and I had to search for it. And it was an unconscious search, you could say. Like I wouldn't say I kept my eyes open everywhere and thinking, oh, is this it? Is this it? It was more. It was more of a feeling that something is coming to me. And around 2 years ago, that is exactly what happened. It did come to me, and it came to me in the form of poetry. It was one of the moments in my life where I just thought, F it, I'm gonna do this. And when I did what I did, the end result of it was my heart completely opened. For the next 3 months after this occurred, I became a completely different person. I would say I became the best version of myself, mentally and spiritually, but not physically, because I wasn't prepared for it. And yeah, so what is my purpose? My purpose is to write poetry and to share it with the world. That is the ultimate reason that I've got this channel. I do have a certain vision for my poetry, how I want to get it out into the world, and how it's perceived, that's completely up to you. But I do feel like there has been times where I've written poetry and I am completely amazed at what I've just written. But I am not amazed at myself. I am not amazed at my capabilities. I am amazed that something like this is possible, to create art that is so beautiful, for it to be created out of nothing, out of thin air. So now let's go back to the beginning of the video, where I said I'm 30 years old and I feel like I've not achieved anything. I feel like a burden to the people around me. I feel like a failure. I feel like I lack direction. But the truth is often staring us right in the face. Because as you can sense, now that we've got to this stage of the video, there has been a shift in perspectives, and suddenly I feel worthy. I feel complete. I feel whole. Why is that? It's because I am in my element. This is what God has created me for. This is why I am on this earth. This is the reason that I am alive. And that is to share with you my poetry. Now I won't lie. At the beginning of this video, when I began to record this, there was no script for this. This is just something that I've just done. And I did have an idea of where I would like the video to go. But the beauty of it is, for me, sort of, this is me taking the first step, and it feels like the next steps have revealed themselves. And the next step for me will be to share my poetry with you. So that is what I hope to do, because to be honest with you, everything that I discussed in the beginning, the effects of the physical world, the money, the materialism, the assets, I have absolutely zero care for. I have no care for any of it at all. It's absolutely meaningless to me. And I think that is why I have always struggled to hold down my place or maintain a place in the system, in society as it is. Because it's not a life that's true to me. It's a life that's been imposed upon me. And I get it, I understand, we all have to partake. But for me, to do things that are against my will, it's a very suffocating feeling, and it feels like when I am asked to do something against my will, especially something that is that I find completely meaningless and worthless, such as holding down a job that I have zero care for, it feels like my soul is running away from me. Whew. This has turned out to be quite a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. And with my poetry, I feel like the main purpose of my poetry, the ideas that I write about, is for you to be inquisitive, for you to be curious about yourself, about the nature of the world, about the nature of society. Why is everything the way it is? Why are you the way you are? And I think the most important message that I share in my poetry, I do write about a wide variety of topics, but I feel like the most important message that I share in my poetry is to ask you, and to ask of me firstly, for you to be yourself and for me to be myself. Because I truly believe that we are all gifted individuals. We are all individuals first and foremost, and we are unique. We are all unique in our own ways, and I believe that we all have a gift, that we all have something that we can offer to the world, something that resides inside of us, something that resides in our hearts. No matter how big or small it is, no matter whether you impact one person or whether you impact 1,000,000 people, it still carries the same worth, because you have chosen to be yourself, and you have been brave enough to share your gift with the world. So yeah, I am still completely amazed at the fact that at the beginning of this video I was feeling completely worthless, and that was probably because I had attached my identity to the physical world, to the limitations that we experience on a daily basis of the physical world, money, jobs, all that type of stuff. Uh, but it feels like some type of alchemy, some type of transmutation, that from the beginning of the video, from me feeling completely worthless, I now feel worthy. I now feel in tune with myself. But having said that, I feel like this video has gone on for quite long, and yeah, I don't want to continue it any further, because you have got much better things to do with your time than listen to me. And yeah, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, and more importantly, I hope you are having a good life, and I hope you are enjoying your life. Thank you very much for listening to this video.